Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another Slime Isekai Memories video. So today we're going to be talking about which Octagram characters you should be prioritizing and spending your Octagram emblems on. Before all of this, don't forget that this is just my opinion, don't take it super seriously, and it's also dependent on where you are currently in the game, whether you're just a new player, whether you're a late game player, or kind of in the middle. This isn't a static tier list. It should be kind of based on how far you are in the game and kind of what you need at the time. But this list overall is just like objectively, or I guess subjectively, which character skill set is the best, who's more niche, all that kind of stuff. We currently only have 6 out of the 8 Octagram characters. As you can see, we have Daggrull, Luminus, Leon, Guy, Ramiris, and Milim. Let's get right into it. But before we do that, don't forget to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts, your opinions, whether you agree, disagree, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Alright, so I actually created a sort of tier list that visualize, who I think is the best, who I think is not as good, and who's the worst. I know it says like S, A, B, and C. It's just the order that this list is in. Just don't mind it too much. This is just who I think is the best, a little bit worse, and then like the worst, right? So we're gonna go through one by one and talk about why exactly they're better than the others. So first, we have Luminus. Now, Luminus's skills, her first one is Bloody Alteration. At level 10, it increases Soul Combo's damage until the end of battle by 20% with a max of 60%, and it also heals the ally with the lowest percentage of HP by 10% of their max HP. And it's 25 cost. And the second one is it increases All Souls secret skill gauge by 50% for 3 turns, but it decreases All Souls protection gauge increase by 25% for 3 turns, and that costs 15. Now the reason I have Luminus as the not the number one, it's not in any particular order, but as one of the best Octagram characters is because of mainly this skill, the Bloody Alteration. In a lot of Jubilee battles, especially not this month, but the earlier months, Luminus was a good side character just because you could stack this buff with other characters who buff the Soul of combos for that specific turn. So you could use her, you could bring her in, use her skill for 25, and then I think it goes 45 and 65. But you would get an extra 60% soul combo damage, increasing your score by a lot. Her second skill is also pretty good if you need like really fast ults. You can kind of use her with Hakuro, even though you won't be able to get as many Hakuro charges. You can just really boost your secret skill gauge increase by 50% for 3 turns, which is pretty powerful in a lot of situations. Now her ult is AoE, doesn't really matter too much. You're not using her for damage. She's more of a support character. Her trait is also pretty good. She gives protection gauge by 3 once per turn from the start of battle to turn 3. So it's not bad. Definitely the most solid support character out of all the Octagram units. I wouldn't say she's the best like support character in the game, but compared to the other characters, just the amount of support that she gives for your team is really good. And she's not as niche, she's more flexible. You can use her in a lot of battles and stuff like that. More specifically longer battles, because you're not going to use her in a short fight, but when you have like a longer battle, her skills are really good. The next character that we have in S tier is Milim, Space Octagram Milim. Now, don't get her mixed up with the other Space Milim. Both of them are really good DPS units. When Space Milim first came out, it was like the beginning of the game basically. She was one of the best DPS units because she was probably, I think, the only person at the time who had a 470% single target ult. Everyone else had 450%, and she gave herself pierce rate by 80% and pierce power by 15%, and she gave everyone critical rate. Her guard power is meh, you know, that's not really gonna matter too much. Her trait is okay. She just gives her own secret skill gauge by 5% at the start of battle. But the reason she's so good is because she's just such a solid, like, damage character. If we go to the character list, right? Oh, I already had one up. If we sort by attack, she has one of the highest attack stats, right? These guys have higher, but they're not boosting their specific attack. She is. She's giving herself the pierce rate, the pierce power, the crit rate, right? And these guys also have AoE. AoE ult. She has a single target. Actually, I made a mistake here. Leon has a single target ult, not an AoE, as you'll find out later in the video. Just a small mistake. So, you know, the amount of damage that she can put out is really good. She's not a support character, you know, so she's, I mean, mainly just good on the space team. You can use her in different teams, but most people choose to use the other Space Milim. She kind of got replaced by the Space 1.0 Milim. Because that Milim, I mean, she buffs attack, and then she also gives herself Drago and buffs her attack again, right? But in the OCTAGRAM character list, she is currently the only single target DPS, which automatically makes her like one of the best, including her OCTAGRAM stats, which are insane. She's really good, you know? If you need like a character, like a really high DPS character, and you have enough OCTAGRAM points, you could invest in her. Just use one copy of her, and she still does decent damage, right? Kind of depending on where you are, but overall, I would say Space Milim, Space OCTAGRAM Milim is really, really good compared to the rest of the OCTAGRAM unit. All right, so next up on the list, we have Ramiris. Now, originally when Ramiris came out, everyone saw her skill set and was like, she sucks. You know, we didn't, like, look, her first skill, Charge Forth at level 10, heals all allies by 60% their max HP, cost 55 skill points. Her second skill, Linked Operations level 10, increases all allies when attacked by 15% for 1 turn for 15 points. And she had an AoE ult, right? She came out during the Wind meta, Wind 1.0, and she was already like, at the time, people were like, meh, you know? Her skill's cool, she's in a big golem, she looks cool. When am I gonna use her, right? That is until Loop became a thing. And then people started to realize, hey, her heal is insane because it heals so much. We only have a few heal characters. Most of them only heal themselves. The main one that I can think of, like just the standard one, is obviously Trainee, who heals all allies by 30% of their max HP for 30 skill points. But Ramiris heals double that. She heals so much HP, especially in Loop. It's really, really good. Especially in the harder stages when your characters are like low HP as you go through all the fights. Because you can't heal naturally, you have to use skills to heal your characters. She automatically just rose in value. Now, outside of Loop, you're not really gonna use her too much. I can't think of a specific like battle or anything where you'd make use of her heal and her wind attack buff, like outside of Loop. Her AoE all is just kind of you know. Her trait, skill points by 4 at the start of battle, skill points by 6. It's okay, you know. So her main use is Loop, but because Loop is such a big event, I would say she's better than the other octagram characters. Like, she serves a purpose. She's really good in that specific purpose, in that niche. Outside of that niche, it's not gonna be that great. Like, you just have other characters that you'd want to use, right? So that's why I'd say she's not as good as Luminus or as good as Milim, but you know, her and Milim kind of serve different purposes. But overall, I would say she's kind of in the middle. She's not the best, but she's not the worst either. She has uses. And yeah, that's Ramiris. All right, after Ramiris, we're kind of moving into the characters. First, we have Guy. So Guy's skills: 1. Crimson Calamity at level 10 changes 3 soul skills into soul secrets and increases all soul secrets gauge by 10% or 30 skill points. His second skill is Rogue Reward. At level 10, he has a 100% chance to stun a single target for 25 skill points. His secret skill is an AoE attack for 270%, and he increases his own secret skill gauge by 18% at the start of battle. So automatically when you look at this character, you see stun and you think Conquest. Yeah, he's good in Conquest. You just bring him in instead of Alice. You don't have to constantly run over and over and over again. You just use him instead. But that's it. That's it. Like, we don't have any other game mode where you need a stun. And EX Conquest, you can't stun. Extreme Conquest, you cannot stun because they made the boss have immunity to stun. So he's good in the other lower difficulties where you need to stun the boss. But outside of that, like, he's not really going to be doing anything for you. I guess if you need to run the fire team, right? If we sort by fire team is kind of bad. We don't have the 2.0 meta yet. And the 1.0 was just kind of okay. But like, outside of Conquest for that stun, where are you realistically going to use him, right? His second skill is okay, right? You change 3 green to 3 orange. You know, it's decent, but he's specific in a certain niche. And unlike Ramiris, who her main niche is blue, Guy you can't even use him in the later stages of Conquest, in the final stage of EX Conquest, right? So that automatically makes him, in terms of value, a little bit worse than Ramiris. And his trait's not that great, you know, he doesn't provide any support. He just doesn't have that many uses outside of his stun, unless we get more stages where you need to stun, which I don't see that happening. Then he'll come back, but at the moment he's just kind of meh, you know. If you want to collect all the Octagram characters, you can. If you are tired of running Alice, you can pick up a copy of Guy. But I mean, I would prioritize other characters over Guy. So if you don't have that many Octagram emblems, I would not make this guy your first choice. Alright, so next we have Light Leon. Now, Light Leon, first, his skill, change all of his own souls to soul secrets, and he increases all soul secrets gauge increase by 10% for 25 skill points. And his second one, Platinum Pandemonium, he increases his own soul combos damage by 50% for 1 turn, and he gives himself crit rate by 10% for 1 turn. He has a single target ult, and when you unleash a 6 combo attack with soul secrets, he increases his own attack by 8% for the next turn. So his trait is kind of meh. But you may be asking yourself, why is Leon all the way down here? You know, you have Milim, they're both single target ults, right? He's buffing his damage, he's orb changing kind of. Why is he so low? Now, this is just based on my experience, right? If you have used Leon before and maybe you've had really good success with him, you may think he's a bit higher. But just from what I've seen and what I've heard and all that, he doesn't do much. You know, like, at least with Milim, right? she gives crit rate. Her ult damage is higher. With Leon, like, sure, he's changing all of his own soul secrets. Cool. That can be useful. That can actually be useful, you know? But sometimes that's not going to be useful. He increases his own soul combos damage, so only himself. I mean, that's still good. And he increases his own crit rate by 10%. You know, it could be a lot higher. Why is it only 10%? What if he doesn't crit? You know? It's just kind of okay. But if we go to the light team, right? All these characters, you know, like she, especially Light 2.0, right? They serve a purpose, right? Xion gives herself Pierce power. She increases her own attack. She's orb changing. Rimuru is also decreasing Pierce resistance, you know? He's also orb changing, increasing skill gauge. Daggrull, he's decreasing light resistance, right? And he has the, I don't even know what to call it, like hard transfer, I guess. But Leon, he's a self-sustaining DPS, but I don't know. I don't think he's that great. I don't really see many people using him at all. His skill set looks really good on paper, but I think realistically when you use him, he's just like kind of weak, I guess. The other characters like Guy, Ramiris, they're not DPS units, but they have their purpose. Ramiris heals, Guy stuns, Luminus buffs combo damage and gives you ult gauge. Leon does DPS, and you know, that's about it. Milim also does the same, but she outputs more DPS. You know, she gives pierce rate. She gives everyone crit rate as well, so you can use her in tandem with other characters. Leon, I think, is just okay. However, Leon, I can definitely see his place. I guess is more finicky compared to the other characters. Like he can be good, or he can be kind of just meh, you know, depending on the situation. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Leon. Let me know what down below what you guys think. If you had a lot of success with him, I think he's just kind of okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Leon. All right, and lastly we have Daggrull. Now Daggrull just came out. Okay, so there's not much testing that has been done with Daggrull, but currently, at the moment, I think he's terrible. And let's go over why. So his first skill, Grand Smash, at level 10, he deals 250 basic earth magic attack damage to all targets, and he decreases his own defense until the end of battle by 15% for 15 skill points. His second ability is Crashing Fist. At level 10, he increases his own secret skill gauge by 50%, and he damages himself for 30% of his max HP for 30 skill points. His secret skill is All Crush. He unleashes an all-target earth magic attack for 200% normal damage, and his Awaken trait, he increases his own secret skill gauge by 18% at the start of battle. Now, you may be thinking, you know, Luminus, Daggrull does damage, right? He does damage, he gives himself ult gauge, he can do a lot of damage. I'd say, sure, yeah, he can do damage. But he's killing himself in the process, quite literally. So the first attack, right, the first skill, you're decreasing your own defense until the end of battle by 15%. Now, you might be thinking, oh, you know, that's it? Only 15%? Like, that's nothing. But 15% when you're up against a boss that like can one-shot you or do a lot of damage, it's not gonna be great. You know, decreasing your defense by 15%, sure, it might not be that much. And then you do it again. And then again. And again. You know, probably the max you're gonna get is 45%, but that's basically cutting your defense value in half. and that's pretty bad. Like, he has the AoE attack, so yeah, he can be good in like a Jubilee, an Earth Jubilee, where, you know, you need to be doing the AoE attack, right? You have the turn limit, you do need to do AoE attacks, sure, right? And then he gets one shot by the boss. You know, like, I don't know, just in my opinion, this decreases his own defense really sucks. But, you know, sure. Defense, you can just give him your max equip where, you know, it's fully awakened, Earth Coat, sure. His second skill though, he gives himself 50% ult gauge. Yeah. But he damages himself for 30% of his max HP. 30% is a lot, right? If you have like an 18,000 health Daggrull, right? Then 30%, you're just immediately wiping out 6,000 HP for half your ult. Like that, yeah, you can just heal him with trainee, sure, but what if you can't, right? You only have so many skill points. I don't know. I just think that this whole damages himself sort of deal is automatically just knocks him down a peg. Sure, he can deal damage, but just the debuffs that he applies to himself are so significant that in a lot of cases, why would you ever use him? Right? You can use other characters that can deal damage, but they won't kill themselves. You know, if we go to the Earth team, right? Go right here. Earth. You have Luminus, you have Soe, you have Benimaru, you have Milim, you have Trainee. You know, you have decent Earth characters, good DPS characters that don't kill themselves and they buff themselves, they give damage. You know, Benimaru can orb steal and give you your ult quickly, right? Soe can put out damage, Luminus can put out damage, and give herself ult gauge. Like, Daggrull just doesn't have a place, in my opinion. And that's the problem with these characters that damage themselves. Like, I think on paper, this doesn't sound like a lot. But realistically, when you use him, you will notice it. You'll notice a massive chunk of your HP just bye-bye. You know? It's the same thing with Rain, if we go the new Rain, right? She deals 300 basic space physical attack damage to all targets. And she damages herself for 25% of her max HP. That's a lot. That's a lot of HP that she's losing just for an AoE attack. That might not even do that much. What if they have physical resistance? Right? Like, the problem with these debuffing characters is that, like, it just puts you at such a disadvantage that I don't really think it's worth it to use this character. Yeah, those are basically my thoughts. Just, I don't know. Daggrull, when I first saw him, this skill just sucked. Like, it sounds good, but realistically, it's just not that good at all. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Daggrull. He sucks. Don't get him. Even if your team sucks, don't pull him. You know, it's just not worth it. Alright, so we've basically gone over all the Octagram characters, and just kind of to recap, we have Luminus, Milim in S tier, Ramiris in A tier, Guy and Leon in B tier, and Daggrull in C tier. Luminus, a godly support, Milim, godly DPS, Ramiris, good for loop loop, Guy, good for conquest and places where you need the stun, Leon, he's okay. He's an okay damage dealer, you know? That's about it. And Daggrull just sucks. He just sucks. He does damage, and he kills himself. That's about it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, let me know what down below what you guys think about the Octagram characters. Who you think is better than the other? Who you think is worse? The upcoming characters, Dino and Rimuru, what you want them to be. I want to hear all of it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget, this is a guide This is not supposed to be 100% strict sort of thing. It's just my opinion. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.